another coding ASMR video. Today I'll be solving one code problem from Code Wars. So as you can see, I've got a nice haircut. Pretty good. I really like it. So yeah, that's pretty good. So that's a change. Before we start, here's another random gaming clip for today's video. Okay, so now let's begin the code. So this is a challenge. If you want to fast forward to the code, there is a timestamp, or you could check the chapters on when I will code, but I'm going to read this in a whispering tone, and no, in a quiet voice tone. So this problem says that you live in the city of Camtasia, Cartesia, I'm not sure how you spell that, where all roads are laid out in a perfect grid. So like, imagine it like a perfect square road where the blocks are an identical length, like a large grid. They give you a story that you have to use this little app, which is basically the code platform, and you press a button, north, east, west, south, blah blah blah, and they assume that one block, one time, every step is one block or something. But every step takes exactly 1 minute, so that means it has to be exactly 10 minutes. So you always walk only a single block for each letter in direction, and you know that it takes 1 minute to traverse one block. So create a function that returns true if the walk app will take you exactly 10 minutes. Just reading this part. You don't want to be too early or late, so exactly 10 minutes. And of course you want to return to your starting point, so return false otherwise. Okay, so let's do this. So the problem asks that it's gonna call a method static. So this method has to return a boolean is valid. And put a car array. Walk. Let's call it walk because that's what the problem gives us. I'm not going to solve using the editor over there. I'm just going to solve it in VS Code. And what we want to do is that we want to return true if the trip takes exactly 10 minutes. 10 minutes. And assuming that one step of moving the block, of walking, a city block, clock, kind of rhymes. Block and clock kind of tie in together in this problem. Takes exactly 1 minute. And two, that we arrived at a certain, or you arrived at the same location where you began. So yeah, so that's the thing. So the input is a car array, so it's an array of letters. either north, east, west, or south, denoted by the character like N, S, W, and E. And yeah, let's do this. So, first things first, you want to check that the array is, I think, 10, has a length of 10, so like 10 times, or 10 steps is 10 minutes, so if you want to check if the length is not equal to 10, it will be returned false, because we want to make sure that the trip takes exactly 10 minutes, given that every time you move one direction, like north, east, west, south, it takes 1 minute. So 10 directions, 10 minutes. So if it's like it has 11, a length of 11 directions, that means it's false. 11 minutes. Likewise, if the array inputted is less than 10, like let's say 6, that means that the traveler or something, the walking trip has 6 directions. That means it took 6 minutes, and that means it's too early, so that would be false. So that's taken care of. Now, what do you want to do? Let's take care of this part. You arrived at the same location where you began. So, before we begin that, we want to set 2 variables. Let's see something. That's what I'm starting to think. We could do 2 variables int x, meaning horizontal direction, and y equals 0 for vertical direction. Since the city in this problem, this virtual city, this made-up city is like a giant grid of blocks, we could just set the starting point as 0, 0, with an x of 0 and y of 0, which is like the coordinates. So, yeah. And before we want to determine where they ended out, where the imaginary human taking walks, we want to know which position he ends up being, he or she, based on the input values. So let's loop through the array, which moves, quote-unquote, the character, the person, as he, she walks. Because that's what the problem is. You want to take a walk that's exactly 10 minutes, and in the array, there are characters that represent the direction they go. So, yeah. So let's take a for loop. Int I equals 0. I is, no, not 1, is less than walk the length. And every time you increment by 1 every time, so yeah, increase I by 1. And so now I guess we're gonna do some if and else's, because every time the loop checks the values in the array, the character will move, simulating a walk. So depending on the input values, which is like north, south, west, or east. So let's do some if statements. So if walk dot I dot is equal to n, that is north, we want to update that by 1. So north, if going north means going up, means, so going north means that y will go up by 1. Moving in the y direction by 1. Yeah. So else if walk I is equal to south, likewise if you go south, you move in the y direction by -1. Going south means the y direction you move it by -1. And let's do another one. So if the player or person goes east, you move in the x direction by 1. And then x plus and else going west, you move in the x direction by -1. So like if you imagine a grid or Cartesian plane, that's how the city problem works, I guess. X minus minus. So this simulates the walk. Okay, so once you exit the loop, you'll have to check that if the x and y values are the same, are 0 and 0, meaning that whatever the player goes in a walk after scanning the array moving in those directions, the x and y will have to end up being 0, 0, meaning that the player, the one who made a walk, must end up in the same place. So if x is 0 and use the AND operator, y equals 0. No, let's do the opposite. At any time, if x is not equal to 0 or y is not equal to 0, that means it's false, meaning that the walk did not end up, the guy or girl did not go back to the same original spot, which is 0, 0, meaning either this or this has to be not equal to make it false. And that validates this part here, this rule. You arrived at the same location where you began. So 0, 0, so in this case you did not arrive. So now I kind of have the method here. I'm going to close it here. And so at the end, if this statement doesn't run, as well as this one doesn't run, we're going to return true at the end. Concern based such that the walk is 10 directions long, 10 minutes, as well as that you arrived at the same spot. So yeah, that's good. So now what I'm gonna do is test it out. As you can see, there are some test cases here in this box. That means if you input this, that means it should return true. If you input this in the second one, it should return false. If you would put W, just W, meaning you just go in that direction, return false. If you would put that here as an input, you would return false. Okay, so I copied the values, the test case examples, as they provide, the one that they provided in the code, and I'm going to see if it returns the same thing, what is expected. So in the first case, it should return true. On all of the other three cases after that, it should return false. So before we test it out, here's another random gaming footage. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed that little break. Now I'm going to test it out. No. I did not call the function. Oh wow, that is so stupid of me. So, is valid. Test A. I should have not called a function, but wow, okay. Now it should see if we get the results. So as you can see, it's true. As you can see, the second one and the third one and the fourth one are all false. So that's expected, because here it is true because we go 2, 3, 4, 5. We go north 5 times and south. We go south 5 times, so it's like basically you walk back in and out of the building. Imagine being that guy walking back and forth 1 block away from your building 5 times, back and forth, kind of a boring walk. And yeah, in the second case, it's false because it's more than 10 options. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So that trip took 12 minutes. So here 10 minutes, return 2, and end up in the same spot. And here it took 12 minutes, too late, so that's why it's false. In this case, this guy also spent 12 minutes going back and forth, but west and east and west and east, like westward and eastward, 1 block back and forth. And even though he ended up in the same spot where he began, it's false because it took 12 minutes. In this walk, he kind of just left the building and went westward for 1 time. So it took him 1 minute to complete the trip, and he did not return back. And that is false. 1 minute, did not return to the same spot. So that's false. And here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. This is false because even though he walked 10 minutes for 10 directions, north, north. He went north 6 times and south only 4 times, so that means he was still up in the north somewhere, so that means he did not return. So because he went north 6 times and forward and south only 4 times. So if we think of these as adding vectors of north and south and east and west. So yeah. Okay, so this pretty much wraps up this video. As you can see, I've kind of succeeded based on the results that I had from my program matched from the problem that they proposed and the solutions they matched. And yeah, I've completed it. So if you watched till the very end, please drop a like if you have gotten your tingles, and I'm happy to post more content for your next dose of tingles. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next ASMR video.